I used to think that experience and expertise was all about time. Like 10 years experience should mean something, right? But I've seen people with 10 years who can't handle anything outside of their routine. I've also seen people with 2 years who've been through more than most people have in a decade. So I started paying attention to why. Hi, I'm Jericho Mendoza. I'm a BA who works in AI, and this is day 16 of sharing what I've learned in my career. Now, I've noticed this shows up in two ways that look completely different, but are ultimately the same thing. One is staying somewhere that's comfortable for years on end, and then the other is jumping job to job. People with real experience can tell you specific moments that changed how they think, how they approach things, how they work. People with just comfortable years talk about how long they've been there or how many jobs they've had. When someone's been comfortable for 10 years, they know what's coming. It's the same problems, it's the same context, same systems, every quarter, every year. It's just reliving the same year over and over and over. So they end up complacent. They stop paying attention, they stop making new decisions, they just do what worked before, they do what's safe. And then when something new comes up, they can't handle it. The job hopping version looks different, but ultimately ends the same. 5 jobs in 5 years. It looks diverse on paper, right? Like lots of varying experience. But those people are never anywhere long enough to actually deal with the complexity that emerges later. They build things, make decisions, then leave before they have to maintain them. They avoid the hard part, which is living with their decisions long term. Lots of breadth, but no depth. At the end of the day, both are about comfort. One stayed where it was safe, the other leaves before it gets hard. But people with dense experience can point to specific things, specific memories, specific projects. I rebuilt a failing project and here's what broke later. I made a decision that turned out wrong and here's what I learned. They were in situations where things broke. Lots of ambiguity, lots of complexity, unclear situations, competing stakeholders, systems falling apart. But they also stuck around to see if their decisions held up. And I think that's what builds true experience. Now, both paths are tempting. I get it. Staying feels very safe, and constantly moving is exciting. And it's often difficult to even tell that you're being comfortable or complacent. But here's how you can check. If you've been in a job for years on end, are you dealing with complex and ambiguous situations? Are you constantly making mistakes and learning from them and growing from them and then applying those lessons to the next projects? Now, on the flip side, if you're the type to have moved around a lot, can you point to something you've delivered and what happened 6 months later? I'm not talking about like you delivered it and it was all great 6 months later and you're working on the next few things. I'm talking about constantly building on what you delivered and learning from each situation. Now, either case, if you're drawing blanks on those questions, you might have years, but not true experience. Real experience has nothing to do with years. It comes from staying uncomfortable, taking ambiguous problems where you don't have the answers, and sticking around long enough to learn if you are right or wrong.